Well, welcome to the Power of After show. I'm Deborah Johnson, where we kind of dive into answering what's next and with your mid-career halftime of life. And here on this show today, we're diving into the second act blueprint with Amy Rasdal, a great guest who's an experienced consultant and entrepreneur who helps professionals turn their hard-earned expertise into thriving consulting businesses. And we'll explore what it really takes to get started, how to design a business that allows you to work smarter and not just longer, and why midlife, mid-career offers the perfect advantage for launching a fulfilling second act. And so whether you're craving more freedom, more impact, or purpose in your next chapter, we will share some practical strategies to build a consulting career and what that is that fits your lifestyle and leverages your unique strengths. Make sure you also get the article that comes with this, with all of the links and with many resources. So stay tuned. Power of After is for you at mid-career, halftime of life, helping you maximize your skills, resources, and experience. We have courses, products, and help to make this stage of your life your best and most purposeful ever. Don't miss a single article, free download, or podcast. Get all the latest at goalsforyourlife.com/newsletter. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Well, hello. It's great to have Amy with us today. So thank you for joining us. And we're all West Coast, so that's pretty fun. So, and appropriate for the title of your business, Billable at the Beach. Okay, so we've already heard a little bit of the introduction of, consulting and all of that. But Amy, welcome. And I'd love you to give a little synopsis of your background. And
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Great. So I'm going to start back a ways, but I'll make it quick. I am a Silicon kid. I grew up in Silicon Valley, started out there when it was all agriculture before it was Silicon Valley. But I mention that because I think it really colored a lot of my career has been in technology. And I think that growing up in Silicon Valley, technology startups was kind of what it was all about. I know that you are an artist. I also am in another side life, a musician dancer. So we have that in common. That's a little bit of a side note for our conversation today. But I started out as a software engineer. I also have a degree in clarinet performance, for whatever that's worth. Interesting side note.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. Yes. So I started out
they're very interesting.
Yeah, it's an oddball thing to throw in there to you.
Yes,
but I know that you have a big part of your life that also is the arts and music. So I threw that in there, kind of a left hook there. Started out professionally in terms of earning money as a software engineer. I went to a fancy business school on the East Coast. I really thought that I wanted to be a technology CEO, right? Do startups. I really wanted to rule the world. I had big dreams and aspirations in those days. So I went to business school. Out of business school, I worked for bigger companies. I fell into the world of medical devices, which is a very interesting field, very much technology, developing new medical products and technologies. Spent a lot of my career doing that. Did all my cross-functional rotations, deep in product development because of my technical background. I also spent several years in marketing. I jumped off and started doing startups. I eventually decided that being a CEO was overrated and underpaid, and I decided to start my own consulting business. So I've had my own consulting business for a long time, still serving very similar people. My flavor of consulting, independent consulting, not for a big company.
Mm-hmm.
My flavor of consulting is superhero, superpower, super pay. So I want to go in and really be the expert, save the world, do my thing, and then get compensated handsomely, and then move on to the next thing. Through the course of having my own consulting business, I would find people calling me more and more often and saying, Amy, I noticed that you really like this consulting thing. Whenever I ask you about it, you're so passionate. I noticed that you're able to take dance class any day you want at 10 in the morning, which isn't necessarily consistent with a corporate career. I see you volunteering on your kids' school field trips. Like, what's up with all this? Can we get together? Well, I'm a very practical, diligent person. And I would think, well, what do I want to tell them? What do I love? What do I hate? What do I wish I would have known? I've made every mistake. And so I eventually realized the market was really asking for what is another business of mine called Billable at the Beach, which helps people start their own consulting business.
Wow.
So that's kind of a life trajectory there.
Wow, that is
in
huge.
A short path.
That's huge because I love your background and because it's very varied. And I think that
Yes.
really helps you in what you're doing. And I think that's important with education. We have that sort of that's part of what schooling is all about. And that's what's education. I mean, you don't just go one route. And I mean, if you attend college, you should explore different average avenues too. In college, that's the perfect time to do that.
I
But a lot of
couldn't
people
agree
feel like,
more.
oh, I just need to know what I'm going to do right now, right now. And that's, I kind of did just because I was in the music bent, and it was something it was so natural for me all the way growing up. And so that's why. But a lot of people there's a lot of options there. So when we get into this consulting thing, because consulting is a little bit different than like coaching. Consulting has, and I'm going to have you explain that as well. And what's the biggest myth about like consulting that really keeps professionals, like you said, it was really being a CEO was being overrated and underpaid, and so, why don't you share some of that?
Sure. So I think there's two really big myths that I want to kind of squash right away. I think by the time we all get to this point in our careers,
Mhm,
we have a lot of experience. We've paid our
mhm,
dues. We've
mhm.
gotten the degrees, the certifications. We've fought our way up the ladder. We've done all
Yes.
those things. So I think there are a lot of people that feel like starting your own consulting business is sort of a cop out. Like,
Ah.
oh, could she just not find a job? Could she, was she just couldn't get there? So feeling like it's a cop out in terms of your career and you're really giving it up. I think the
Mhm,
other thing is that you have to sacrifice pay or
mm,
compensation. If you're going to be in dance class, on your kids' field trips, whatever that means to you, going on a golfing trip with your partner,
right.
training for a marathon,
Mhm.
whatever that means to you. Billable at the beach is a kind of an aspirational idea
Yeah.
because I happen to live in San Diego, but it's that idea of really having control over your own time, your work,
Mhm.
what you do, how you live your life, how you make your contributions professionally, that
Right.
surely you can't make as much money, but you can. So
Yeah.
you can start your own consulting business without sacrificing your career trajectory. You can still have an upwardly mobile career or your pay.
Mhm.
So I think those are two big things that prevent people from
Mm.
making the leap.
Wow. Those are great, actually, because it's such a mindset.
Very
It's
much.
a real mindset in this. So, but you still need to have some sort of plan. So, how do people really get started in this? It's all of a sudden you want to just I'm going to hang a consultant sign out. I'm just going to say I'm a consultant. Well, what does that really mean? And how do you actually get started? And what do you need to affirm in your own life?
So it's surprisingly easy to get started, shockingly easy,
Hmm.
actually. And one of the advantages to consulting is you don't need upfront investment. I have colleagues. I spoke for many years. COVID really changed the whole live speaking landscape for a lot
Hmm.
of us. But
Yes.
I would often co-speak with someone who was a franchise broker.
Hmm.
It's a great option for having your own business, but it
Hmm.
requires investment. And they have conversations about how can you use your 401k or the equity in your home
Right.
to get into this business. And there
Hmm.
are a lot of amazing opportunities. Starting your own consulting business doesn't require any of that. And in fact, you need 4 things. And I'm going to say right now that all of us who are talking and listening right now have those 4 things. Here's what they are: a computer, a phone, brain power, and business experience.
Wow.
That's all you need to get started. So I'm a very practical person. I'm really very much an operational person. So my whole focus in helping people get started is land a project, get a check in the bank. And until you land a project and get a check in the bank, you don't need a website. Do you need a website someday? Absolutely. Do you need one to land your first project? No. Do you need special photos? Do you need a logo? Do you need a business name? You don't need any of those things to land your first project and put a check in the bank. So I'm a really big believer that business is about generating revenue. And I love contributing to society. I love nonprofit work, but that's not what we're doing here, right?
Yeah, right.
It's revenue generation. And it can be difficult, I think, especially at this stage, to hold yourself accountable for revenue generation at this point. But that's really what our goal is. So it's easy to get started. And I came across just kind of through trial and error. And one of the things, when I first got started, I actually got started a little bit accidentally. I was at one of the startups that I was doing. We flew up like a rocket ship and we crashed and burned even faster.
Wow.
Which is sometimes the way of startups.
Yes.
It was a great ride. We had a blast. But I, in pretty short order, found myself looking for my next opportunity. So I was interviewing for my next executive role, right? VP of operations. I had a lot of options. I was talking. A consulting project fell into my lap. It was 20 hours a week for 3 months. And I was at the point that probably all of us are at, where it wasn't just the company or product, but the team of people that I was going to work with was really important, right? There's just certain things. There's just certain things we just don't have the patience to tolerate anymore, right? As opposed to when we were sort of bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and we would sort of do anything that anybody asks. We're just, a lot of us are just beyond that point, right? I laugh. It makes me think of my dad took a lot of, in his early retirement years, sort of adventure-ish trips. And one time I was visiting him and he was packing. He said, Amy, I think this is the last trip I'm going on where I have to bring my own toilet paper.
Oh, that's so funny. That is so funny. Yeah.
I thought it was a good descriptor of you reach a certain point in life and there's certain things that you just don't want to do.
Yeah, you just don't want to do anymore. Yeah. I'm not.
So I just always a funny little story that I think is kind of just a good illustration. But this consulting project fell into my lap and I thought, perfect. It brings some money in so I can cover all the bills. I've got, 2 kids, one's in private school, the whole deal. And I got 5 or 6 weeks into it and I thought, cancel the job search. This is the life. I'm now a consultant.
Wow.
But that's all I did. So for the first while, people would hear about it. A project would come my way. I have all this business experience. I wanted to be CEO. I went to a fancy business school. I have no excuse for why I didn't treat it more like a business than I should have. Now I know better. But eventually the pipeline started to slow down and I got serious about it. I made a lot of mistakes, but I really learned what are the key specific things that you need to do. So I came up with this way to get started. I told you about the 4 things that you need. It's not hard. I call it 3 action steps to generate revenue now. It's 3 simple steps that I've taught now thousands of times because I've done a lot of speaking and I have my online program. I have all this stuff. The first thing you do is put together, the fancy business term would be your value proposition. It's your pitch. It's your elevator pitch, whatever you want to call it. It's really, what are the goods and services that you're going to be selling? As consultants, we sell services. So what is it? Now, that can be a little bit difficult for people at our stage because we've done so much, right? I know you have. I just talked about I've done all these things. You need to pick out the things that really, the places where you can really add value And you're really looking for the intersection of three things. What are the things that you're the best at? What does the market really want to pay for? And what's your greatest passion? So what really lights you up? If you can maximize those three things. So there may be a case where I had one client who is a CPA. She said, I'm sick of accounting, like no more accounting. I want to move it more into strategy. So she might have been able to make a little bit more money as a high level finance and accounting person.
Right.
She was willing to compromise that a little bit because of her passion. So those three things, you have the choice to play with that a little bit. The really important thing is the market has to want to buy it.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
And sometimes that takes a little test. And I sometimes work with people who have kind of a wild idea. And I say, okay, that sounds great. Let's test it. And test it sounds a little fancy. It's not. You call 3 to 5 people who are sort of customer proxies, people in your business network, and you say, hey, I'm thinking about this. 3 to 5 will give you a pretty good idea. Oh my gosh, I love that idea. I would definitely buy it. Or I don't think anyone's going to pay for it. So it takes a little bit of work to hone in. The hardest thing, I think, is people feel like they don't want to take anything off the table, but you really need to focus. Whatever you focus on, that doesn't have to be what you're stuck with forever, but you have to pick a first focus and really zero on something that's your superpower.
Yeah.
Then I have everyone make a list. Make a list of all the people that you've worked with in the past, the people that you know, all the people that you're going to let know, hey, I'm a consultant now. Here's what I'm doing. Do you have any projects for me? Or do you know anyone that you could send me to that might need the help that I can provide? A lot of these people are going to think, oh my gosh, Deborah, you're available. I've worked with you in the past. I know that you do great work. I have this thing that's been keeping me up at night. Let's talk. So I tell people to make that everyone, I attract a lot of technical people who it's a stereotype, but tend to be a little bit more introverted. Everyone can come up with a list of at least 100 people that they've worked with in the past, that they know, friends of their family, parents at school, whatever it might be. Let them all know. Out of every 100 people that you reach out to, 3 to 5 people are going to come back and they're going to say, I think I might have something. Can we talk? And out of those 3 to 5 hot leads, the odds of closing 1 or 2 projects is really high.
Right. Great advice.
It's really simple. But it's about you have to do the outreach.
And you have to do the work. You can't just sit back and think, oh, everybody's build it and they come and they're just going to come because I'm put
darn
sign
it,
out.
right?
Yeah.
Don't we all wish that's the
I
way
know.
it worked?
How about that?
I wish that was the way it
was
worked.
Very popular. That was very, very popular. In fact, I had a colleague tell me that one time and I thought, well, it didn't work, did it? So, and you really talk about earning more than executives by working less. And so you've said, pretty much how you've done that. And how long did it take you really, though, to get to this point? You did hang out your shingle pretty much. Yeah.
So I was my own block on that, not the market or the customers, because this is so common, not just for women, for men too.
Yeah.
At the beginning, it's scary to charge what you're really worth.
Oh, it's so scary. Yes, it is. It is. In every field, it is. Yes,
I think
right.
I agree. In every field, it's not necessary. I think women may struggle a tiny bit more, but it's not unique to women. Right. And now you're selling yourself. So I have guys that come into my program who are just like these I call them sales animals. They are just so good at selling. They're so extroverted. They can sell anything. It's scary when you're selling yourself.
Yeah.
And the scary thing is that I'm sitting here, I've done my pitch, I've made your proposal. At some point between here and putting a check in the bank, you have to talk about how much money you need to get paid. Right. I'm afraid that someone's going to look at me and laugh in my face. Once I finally had the courage to charge what I was worth, Nobody ever did. Nobody ever laughed at me or said, that's ridiculous, right? But it's
Yeah.
scary for everybody
Yeah.
to charge what you're worth.
My husband and he keeps reminding me of this, because we go through this. I mean, you keep going through the cycle, and he says, the hardest sale you ever make was the one to sell yourself. That is the hardest sale. It
Oh,
really is. It is,
that's
because it's a mindset, and then you think, oh, well, no, well, maybe they won't pay that much, or no, oh, maybe I need to charge less, or maybe I'll get more business. You don't. So,
I feel very validated to hear that your
yeah.
husband reminds you of that too,
Yeah,
because
he
I
does. He
totally
reminds
agree.
me because I go through the same things,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter what level you're at. I have learned that as well because I've worked with some, major people, and it doesn't matter the level. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what stage you've been on. It doesn't. There's still you're at the sidelines, and you are about to go back on, and you still have the self-doubt. So, hey, so you're human. Okay, that's just what it is. So, and if you don't, well, good for you, but there's very few, very,
Yeah.
very few. So yeah, but that's very true. That's the hardest sale, and I have to, keep reminding me,
Yeah, good,
he
good,
has to keep
good.
reminding, but that is a good
Right.
reminder. So when someone is asking, because this is what, Hero Mountain Summit is all about, Power of After is out, asking what's next. And some people are going, oh, I don't want to even think about what's next. It's too overwhelming right now.
Yeah.
But how do they know, though, if you've given some simple steps, but how do they know that really consulting is going to be right for them, versus other entrepreneurial paths?
What are
And
the
what is the
things?
difference between just like, because there's so many coaches, and it's almost everybody can sign up to be a coach. I mean, it is like, oh
Yes.
my gosh, there's millions of them. Consulting's a little different. It can be a little more specific and targeted toward different areas of expertise. So, can you comment on that? That this is the right path instead of other entrepreneurial paths?
Sure. So I have a lot of ideas, so I'll try and kind of focus in. Um, and there also are different flavors of consulting. So I'm kind of talking about mine. We
Yes,
hear a
that's
lot
true.
about
Yes.
fractional and things like that. For
Mhm.
me,
Yes.
my focus really is superhero, superpower, super pay.
Mhm.
And as a consultant, you're going to be building on the expertise and experience that you've always had. So
Yes.
your work content is not going to change. If you're
Mhm.
sitting there thinking, I want to do something completely
Mhm.
different, then it's probably not my flavor of consulting.
Yes.
Your contribution is going to build on, again, the experience that you've had for all these years,
Right.
which is why it's great for this second half,
Yes.
because it's not my version of is not available in the first half because
Right.
you have to have that experience.
Yes.
What's going to be different though is you get to choose who you work with, what your projects are, who you deliver it, what your focus is, what you get paid.
Mhm.
Now, the caveat there is that the market has to be willing to pay it,
Yes.
but you get to decide. And if
Mhm.
there's a customer or client or project that you don't want to work on, or
Mhm.
I like to say, sometimes I engage with a client and it doesn't turn out
Mhm.
quite as great as I would have hoped. It's relatively rare, thankfully.
Right. Right.
I don't have to work with them again. I don't have to be available next time I call. I can work remotely. I can leave
Mhm.
mornings for dance class if I want. I can work in the morning. I can turn off for 3 months over the summer if that's when I'm gonna travel or, everything is really up to me. So the what, when, how,
Mhm.
all of that is within my control. So it's no longer feeling like I think a lot of us in corporate feel a little bit like we've
Mhm.
sold our soul. Somebody else owns our pay and our promotion, and it doesn't always matter what we do. Maybe the
Yes.
company gets
Yeah.
acquired right before you were finally going to get the executive spot, and the new CEO brings in their own team. It has
Yes.
nothing to do with what you did. So you get to
Right.
control all of those things.
Yeah.
So it really is very different. And there are some people that come in thinking, oh, I don't want to work for the same type of companies. And then also what I'm looking for is work that I can really come in and make a significant contribution on really special activities or projects, not becoming indispensable to day-to-day activities. I do my superhero, superpower, super pay. I do that engagement, and then I move on to the next one.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people who've been used to corporate who think, well, I want to lock in, like retainers. I want to lock in 20 hours a week for 3 years.
Yeah.
That just buys you kind of your old life.
Yeah.
That's kind of a part-time job, but guess what? You're probably not getting benefits, you're not getting insurance, you're not getting paid time off. So in my world, that's kind of the worst of both worlds. So it's really going in and looking for those high value, high contribution roles. Also, those are the things that are fun. They really light us up. Like, I'm an operational person. I love to jump in when it's a crisis. When everything is a huge mess, I jump in and I get to save the day. Now, I also take some heat because some of the mess I'm going to take shots for that I didn't have anything in creating, and that's okay. I'm going to help sort it out, but I really love that type of work.
That is so fun. And I love I love your superhero, I wrote a song called Superwoman years ago. Years ago. I'll have to send it to you, but I'll put it actually in the show notes.
Great.
It's really fun, but it really talks about how much women handle a superwoman.
Right.
But it's a it's such a little path that you've created for that. And everyone is unique. Everyone has, I've taught so many years. You look for the uniqueness. There are very, very few I've taught voice students, and they want to be a star. They want to do the solos, and they want to do all of this. And it's like, okay, I gotta look for the uniqueness. Okay, they've got a good stage presence. Okay, this is what we're going to focus on, and you have to just do the voice as best I mean, I'll work with that, but there's very, very few that are going to cut through. And when you said you were a clarinet, well, unless you are making like a major, major orchestra, there is very, very little chance.
There's only 2 in an orchestra,
exactly,
right?
Exactly. So there's like your
So
odds are way
I
down.
double majored in computer science and music. I had
That
a
is
music.
so cool.
The most money I ever made was I had a music scholarship as an undergrad. So
Cool.
that was the most financial reward that I got from. But I loved it. I got to continue. I started dancing along the way.
Yeah. And it sounds you've mentioned dance several different times, so you must love dance.
I love dance. I still
moving,
dance.
I've got 2 left feet. So anyway, I love to dance, but I'm not very flexible. Anyway, so let's kind of move on a little bit because this really is a great time of life. It is so people their experience, and that's where a lot of people do not validate. I wasn't doing that even. And, I'm a project queen. I know how to get projects done. And I realized at some point that it's because I put systems together for years. And the systems, I know how to get it done. I've done so many album projects. I just released my 7th book. I know how to get things done. And it's because I put systems together. I didn't even realize I was doing that. So I wrote about it. And that's really where I can help people now. Put your own unique system together. It's freeing. It's freeing. It's not going to tie you down. It's very, very freeing. I still work a lot. I love my work. So, but it is definitely freeing. So validating that experience, which you have done big time, and then you find the areas that you just really love to work in. And I think that's just great thing. And so what is your advice for the person who's pretty financially comfortable? Now, that's actually a tough place to be sometimes because you don't want to give up what you're doing because you've got, all of these extras with the job and this is a huge risk. What about insurance? What about all of these things? What's going to happen? Are you going to really take that leap? And, I deal with this a lot of just at this point of life because, well, should I just keep working this job if they'll have me? Or or should I really start doing the stuff that I've had such a passion for so many years? What is they're not really fulfilled. They've put off their dreams for years. So how do you consult or the
I think that I think that is a very hard place, and I'll be honest, I kinda hate to say it, but I will because it's what I see. I see most people taking the leap due to some catalyst.
Oh, okay.
I'd love to say that I see a lot of people, and you probably work with more people in that position than I do,
Mhm.
because usually what for them to get to me, there has been some catalyst.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of times it's a layoff, which can
Mhm.
come at any time at the most unexpected
Sure can.
moments,
Yeah.
or something in their environment or family, a health
Yeah.
issue for
Life issue.
themselves or a
Mhm.
parent or a move or something
Mhm.
else in their lives that pushes them. I don't see that many people who have the courage. It
Yeah.
makes me a little sad,
Mm.
and I'm sure that a
Yeah.
lot of why you do what you do
Mhm.
is having that passion for helping people with that mindset shift. Um,
Yeah.
all throughout there that there's nothing special about me that
Mhm.
made me able to do this. I've told you it's not that hard.
Mhm.
I really my passion is I want people, and I think we share this, I want people to know that they really can have the life they deserve, the life that they dream of, whatever
Mhm.
their age and stage, and especially at this stage now of, the power of after it and women at halftime. I had my kids really late, so I'm still a little bit in the thick of it. I still have a 12-year-old and one that
Oh my
graduated from
gosh.
I know, yeah, so and then one that mine are 10 years apart, so I have one that's graduated from college, but I'm really, really, really late in that game.
Yeah.
So I know
Mhm.
a lot of the people who are listening, you've raised your kids and
Mhm.
juggled careers and
Mhm.
perhaps supported your partner's career and you've done all
Yeah.
this stuff. And now
Mhm.
I feel sad that people just are still stuck there,
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
but I wish I had magic words
Mhm.
that I could offer to help them take the leap. It often takes some
Mhm.
catalyst. What
Yes.
do you see? Do you have, like, knowing
Mm.
what I'm talking about,
Mhm.
do you have any
Mhm.
magic that you could help our friends with?
Well, yeah, there usually is some sort of catalyst or just dissatisfaction of what
Yeah.
they're in. They're just tired. Um, but something will happen. I mean, there's with the growth of AI, the entry level jobs right now, those are those are almost going to go away, or they're going to be reconfigured. So
Yeah.
I think right now in consulting, if you can consult people of how to even, which I do a little bit of this too. I'm not an expert in AI. I don't need to be an expert in AI. I can show people where to look and inspire them to do it for themselves because they have to. That is what teaching is all about. Develop the love for this topic and you've developed a student for life. And they've got to discover in their area how to kind of reinvent a little bit. And it adds a lot of excitement. It's moving so fast, but those entry level jobs right now, those are going to be cut. And there's a lot of jobs, I read all the time, stuff's going to just get automated. All of a sudden, you don't have a job because you're not needed because now it's robotics. Now, this has happened through the ages, though. This is not new.
I
What happened with the assembly line? I mean, there's so many things that have happened through people are panicked, but it's like, okay, this is history repeating itself. So you just have to equate yourself for today. And a lot of that is mindset and the willingness to, work and to step up. I love to work. So, but
well,
you're going to step up. Yeah.
and I think there's a false sense of security that
Yeah.
your job is always gonna be there. I spoke prior to COVID the 2nd Monday of every month for 12 years, at Lee Hecht Harrison, which is an outplacement services firm.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're at a high enough level in a big enough company, you often get outplacement services when you're laid off. So I had somewhere between 30 and 60 people every month who had lost their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't necessarily expect it. And it's human nature to think that it's not going to be you.
Yes.
So
Of course.
one month I walk in, I had been at a client project meeting the Wednesday before, and there was a woman that was part of the client team. I walk into my session teaching how to start a successful consulting business on Monday, and she walks into the room. Now I'm trying to be discreet and careful, but I'm sure my face was kind of like, what the heck are you doing here? But, I was calm. She came up to me after and she said, I came in on Friday. There was one position eliminated. It was mine. I had no idea it was coming. There was no. And I said, well, congratulations to you. This just happened Friday and you're already here. So you're already way ahead of the game because you're moving forward. But you can, you have to own your own stability these days.
Yes. I love that.
The best is what you were just talking about. You own your career path, whether you like it or not or admit it.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter if you're employed somewhere. You're still owning your own because, again, you might feel secure, but jobs aren't just, 30 years down the road these days. It's just different. It's
not. And I saw so many, I would see executives come in because I saw 30 to 60 people a month who had lost their jobs.
Wow.
There would be these guys who were San Diego is the land of life sciences, these high level drug development guys. They had moved their entire family across the country to San Diego. 9 months in, their job is eliminated.
Oh,
time after time. The world has changed.
Oh,
whether
it really
we
has.
like it or not, it has. Not every company is like that. They're not terrible people. They have pressures of market pressures, and the financial markets. They're becoming less predictable, not more. Right. Every day.
Yeah. You just have to equip yourself, have that lifelong learning attitude. And I think that's very, get somebody that, I have a gal that we kind of do mastermind together, and I don't do a lot. And then I lead some groups too. So, but it's very important to have groups like that you have some goals and that you're moving ahead and that you're constantly listening. I listened to one today. And on book marketing, I'm always learning a little something. If I walk away with one thing, even in a conference, if I go to a conference, I want to walk away with mainly one thing. Sometimes I come away with two, but it's about relationships and, all of that. But it's very important to look for that. What's that nugget that's going to help you personally move ahead? And I think that's a really, really great point on that. And so is there, there's really no secret to jumping in except for just jumping in and putting some sort, or do you have a system that you have that you're able to help people with this consulting? That's what I'm thinking you do have.
Yes, because it was so interesting for me to listen to. I always listen to episodes of somebody's podcast before I'm going to join them.
Yeah.
And I thought, here's this creative person who comes from the arts, and she's talking about systems. And it's so interesting because I also am a very systematic, and I love that systems don't tie you down. They actually set you free. I had never thought of it in that way, but I love that. I don't feel so boring about it now as I used to.
Yes.
But I very much have a system, and I'm very practical and very focused on let's generate revenue first. I assume that you still have bills to pay. Let's generate revenue first and then continue. Just a really quick note, though, in case we have some people, because I do get some people who are ready to sort of retire from their 8-to-5 career. And they don't need to earn as much money as they used to, which is a lovely place to be. So they have a tendency to want to give their corporate clients a discount or a better rate. So I
okay.
immediately get with them and I say, oh, no, 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 because we're actually not doing them any favors by charging
Mhm.
them less than they should pay.
Right.
If you're in that enviable position, you charge them what they're worth, and then
Mhm.
you have the pleasure of deciding where should that money go. Is
Yes,
there a pet
yes.
project, a pet cause? Is it someone in the family? Is it a nonprofit?
Mhm,
Is it whatever it might be? You get to decide that. So
mhm.
that's a
Yeah.
great place to be. It still doesn't mean that you charge less. So just in case there's somebody out there who
Mhm,
the
mhm.
position that we would all love to be in, right? Where
That's
they really don't need to keep earning at the same rate that they have been.
yeah. Ah, what great words of advice. Well, as we're kind of, summing this up, tying this,
Yes.
um, what is one thing that you want people to walk away with? And then I want you to be able to give all of the show notes will include your information so
Yes.
people can link with you and see all of the wonderful
Yes,
things
yes.
that you are able to offer as well. But what's one thing if somebody's listening to this? Okay, so how can I apply this like today?
Yeah, so you first, I want you to know you
Mhm,
can do it, and so I know the link will be in
mhm, mhm.
the show notes. I have a free email course that
Okay.
dives deeper into those 3 action steps to generate revenue now. It
Okay.
really is simple and straightforward. It won't take you very long, and you don't have to say, "Okay, I quit my job." I
Mhm.
you could stick a toe in the water.
Yes.
If you
Yes.
go all in, you'll be more successful, but if you're
Mhm.
thinking, "Oh, I don't know, this is something that you can stick a toe in the water."
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
Yes.
Follow the three steps, see if you can land
Yeah.
a project.
Oh, that's so
Go
cool.
ahead and dive in.
You gotta start. You gotta start somewhere too.
Gotta
So you
start.
gotta
That's
start.
so hard,
Start.
right?
I
I talk
know.
about, like, when we were kids, the first time you jumped off the high dive, at
Oh.
some point, you just gotta, like, plug your nose and
Mm.
close your eyes and take the plunge.
And 5 belly flops later,
Or
the
not,
dive off the dive.
or
I
not,
dive.
right?
It was horrible, horrible. There's another mindset. "Oh, I'm gonna do it again." It's
Right?
just horrible.
Yes.
I am not an athlete, you can
Yes, yes.
tell. There's not my anyway, great words of advice. So people I will send them, to your website, Billable at the Beach, and they can
Great.
contact you, of course,
Yeah.
directly. And with this free emails, your 3 free email course, which is great. And yeah, just I love that walk away of just that you can do it. I love the super, yeah, your let's see, what were your 3 one?
Superheroes,
Superhero,
superpower,
superpower, yeah,
super pay.
super pay. I love that.
Yeah.
But it's a step by step. That's a system, right?
Yes.
So
Very much a system.
yeah, very much a system and get with the system, get with that and
It
full
can
speed
be
ahead.
but it can be baby steps.
It can be I
It can
really
totally be baby
encourage.
steps.
And if you've not read Tiny Habits, it's a great
I
book
love that.
because
Yes.
it's just those, and that's, viable research, real research. It's not just, blogs of just how important those tiny, tiny steps are. And I'm big on that as well because they do create good habits and you
Yes.
can create a new lifestyle that way. So definitely.
Absolutely.
So thank you
Yes.
so much for being with us
Thanks for
today.
having me.
Amy, you're just wonderful. Wonderful to meet people all over the world, pretty much. And I appreciate your persistence as well. You've been great. Yeah, definitely. One of the most persistent in following up. I just appreciate that on my end, too. So, you get busy. And so I
Great,
just
of
appreciate that.
course, yes.
And thanks again. And thank everyone for tuning in. Make sure that you check our other episodes and you get on our newsletter as well because you get all of the podcasts and the shows. Extra things too. I give away a lot of free stuff and music too. That's really, really fun. So make sure that you click in there, goalsforyourlife.com/newsletter. So thanks again for joining us. And everyone, I will look forward to being with you again next time. So bye-bye for now.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for spending time with me today. I love bringing you insights to help you maximize your skills, resources, and experience at mid-career and beyond so that you can make your next chapter your most impactful and purposeful yet. I'm Deborah Johnson, and I can't wait to be with you again next time on the Power of After show.